you get look like, the harder you're trying to treat people right. They still treat you wrong. Look like the more you're trying to put love in your house, the more hatred you get in return. The more you try to have somebody back, the more people are stabbing you in the back. It looks like that you might as well give up where you are, but before you give up, give out, or give in, let me give you some courage and word. As long as God is still on the premises, there is still a possibility. Sooner or later, he'll pull you through. In this text, we find 4,000 men, plus women, plus children, in the desert with Jesus in a 3-day workshop, and they ran out of food. Don't miss the text. They were with Jesus, listening to Jesus, learning from Jesus, and ran out of food. You ain't caught me yet. They were at the right place, with the right person, doing the right thing, and the wrong thing still happened. Now, let me help you out with this. Just because I'm with Jesus, that does not exempt me from trial and tribulation. But here's your shout report, that if I have to go through something, I'd rather go through it with him than go through it without him. If I gotta get sick, I'd rather get sick with him. If I gotta go broke, I'd rather be broke with him. If I gotta have enemies, I'd rather have enemies with him. If I gotta get lied on, I'd rather get lied on with him. Because if I stay with him long enough, I know he's not gonna stay sick, broke, lied on, or enemy driven too long. Sooner or later, if he's coming out, I'm coming out, because he's gonna pull me through. The reason why Paul and Silas could turn a weary in prison into a worship experience is because they knew the Lord was in there with them. The reason why he could turn a prismatic situation with guards all around him by the name of the Apostle Peter, and instead of being in prison, he turns it into an overnight resort stay, it's because he knew the Lord was in there with him. The reason why Paul and Silas, the reason why Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego wasn't worried about being in a fiery furnace, had to turn a fiery furnace into a walk-a-thon around it, is because they knew the Lord was in there with them. The reason why they wasn't worried about Goliath is because David knew, I'm not going there by yourself, I'm in good company. I got the Lord with me. What you got to figure out, go on into the operating room, you got the Lord with you. Go on and fill out the application, go to the job interview, you got the Lord with you. Go on and walk down the aisle, you got the Lord with you. Go on and apply for the loan to get the house, you got the Lord with you. And as long as I got the Lord with me, it's just in the record book. If God be for me, he's more than the whole world against me. Tell your neighbor, I got it with me. They ran out of food. But yet, the Lord said, I'll pull them through. Negative people were around saying, how can one man satisfy all of these men? But here's the thing, don't listen to your critics. Tell your neighbor, stop listening. Because they're looking for you to fail. They're waiting on you to die. They're waiting on you to get fired. They're waiting on you to go to divorce court. I need to quit listening to my critics and start following Christ. You didn't catch me right there. I need to quit listening to my critics and start following Christ. Matter of fact, if you would have listened to your critic, you wouldn't be as far as you are right now. If you would have listened to your critic, you would have been gave up a long time ago. But because you had no faith in what God was telling you, that's what the critics were saying. That's how come you made it this far. And let me give you good news. He didn't bring you this far to leave you. With God, it's a principle. With me, it's a possibility. Whenever you see the actions of God stated in the Bible, it's usually used with the word shall. Whenever you see the responsibilities of man in the Bible, it's usually attached to the word if, which means God will do it, I might do it. So therefore, God can't do his part till I do my part. So if the truth really be told, I know you've been declaring to yourself you just waiting on God, but the truth may be God might be waiting on you. And when you do your part, God gonna take care of his part. What's my part? It's in verse 6. It's in verse 6. Three things I want to show you. First of all, I have to obey the command. The text says he commanded the people to sit down on the ground. Sometimes it's not about what he said. Sometimes it's about who said it. Don't miss me right there. Because sometimes when he tell you to do something, look like what he's telling you to do isn't going to make any difference in the outcome of your situation. But sometimes he's not telling you to do it to change it. He just want to see who you're listening to. You do know that trouble will talk to you. Trouble will tell you to quit. Trouble will tell you to give up. Trouble will tell you to walk away. Trouble will tell you to don't try no more. Trouble will tell you you might as well tell them off. Trouble will tell you you need to cuss them out, tell them where they can go and how quickly you can get them there. Trouble will tell you to tell them what they can do with their job. Trouble will tell you to let them know I can do bad all by myself. Trouble will get you in your mind and put in your spirit to go back home tonight and tell them I'm an independent black woman of the 21st century. You don't define me, you just accessorize me. I can do what I got to do even if I got to do it all by myself. Trouble will make you roll your neck, roll your eye, give ungodly change on what you call pieces of your mind. Trouble will talk to you. But the thing of the matter is, God want to see you. Are you listening to trouble or are you listening to me? Because while trouble is telling you to do all of that, God is saying, sit down somewhere. Tell your neighbor, sit down. Because if you just leave it alone, God will work it out. So obey the commander. Show who I'm listening to. But I got to obey the commander to get out of his way. Once they sat down, Jesus stood up. Once they sat down, Jesus stood up. I told you last night that sometimes God does what he does so you won't get confused in the credentials of who the miracle's supposed to go to. And the reason why he makes you sit down sometimes is because he don't want you to be confused who worked it out for him. Because if you still standing and God working, you may think you're assisting God. But once you sit down, you get a courtside view of watching God work it out for you. And when somebody asks you how'd you make it, you can't help but to say it was nobody but the Lord that pulled me through. That's why he let the medicine run out. That's why he let the doctor run out of idea. That's why he let the money run out. That's why he let you lose your job. That's why won't nobody text you, inbox you, Instagram you, tweet you, or call you. That's why everybody walked away from you. That's why you're isolated now, and everybody watching you, waiting to see what's gonna happen to you. Once God pull you through and they ask you how you make it, you can't help but to tell them what nobody but the Lord. He don't want you to give chemo any kind of credit. He don't want you to give rehabilitation any kind of reward. He don't want you to give a bank loan any lordship. You want to let them know it wasn't nobody but Jesus. It wasn't Benjamin Franklin. It was Jesus Christ. And the only reason I keep making it is because I've watched God pull me through. You gotta get out of his way. But in getting out of his way, when you get where he told you to get, you get a clear view of your miracle. It's one thing, Pastor Dixon, for me to have power to do it myself. It's one thing for me to work with God and get it out. But it's a whole different level of praise when God worked it out and only thing I did was just watch it work. You ain't catching me there. Sometimes you ought to shout by just having the opportunity just to watch God work it out. Tell your neighbor I'm courtside. I'm talking to somebody right now. The Lord done told you to sit down. Lord done told you to take your hands off of it. Lord done told you don't say nothing else to her. Lord done told you leave it alone. The Lord done told you I'm going to work it out. But here's the praise report here is that you going to get to sit there and get a courtside view of your confirmation and watch God work it out for you. That's all Israel did at the Red Sea. They just got a courtside view of an east wind blowing all night long and parting the Red Sea. That's really all Job did when he got through praying for a friend. He saw a courtside view of God being his stockbroker and his doctor all at the same time. That's all what happened. Those that were at Calvary, they just got a courtside view of watching the Lamb of God save the sin of the world. Don't you know you ought to thank God sometimes that he just loved you enough to tell you go sit down and watch me work. He loved you enough that he just let you watch him work it out. Let you watch him pay the bill. Let you watch him heal your body. Let you watch him touch the child. Let you watch him save your daughter. Let you watch him convert your husband. Watch him convert your wife. You just watch God work it out. I have to obey the commandment. But then I have to observe the process. Even though it's new trouble, it's a new situation, but it's the same God. Can I give you my equation whenever new trouble hits my life? New trouble, same God. You was expecting calculus or something. As long as God is still the same God that pulled me through last time, I know he still got the power to pull me through this time. Tell your neighbor he the same God. You ain't catching me yet. Let me say it another way. If your crisis ain't bigger than the cross, he can pull you through. If your situation ain't bigger than the resurrection, he can pull you through. And whatever you gonna do, and it ain't big enough to make him get up out of the sea, come back down, stay 33 more years, go back to Calvary, hang up there from another 9 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the evening, get back in the same grave, put back on the same grave clothes, lay there 3 more days, get up again with all power in his hand. That means you really ain't got a problem. If the Lord handled it last time, tell your neighbor he'll do it again. I know you ain't got the same sickness, but he the same healer. I know you ain't got the same bill, but he the same provider. I know you ain't got the same enemy, but he the still put the same footstool maker. As long as I got the same God, he'll pull me through. Since it's the same God, Pastor Coleman, it's the same process. The process is in the text. But first of all, I have to give it to him. Tell your neighbor, give it to Jesus. The text says he set them down and took the 7 loaves. Why did he take them? He took them because they had it for 3 days and hadn't done nothing with it. Sometimes you need to give it to Jesus because since you can't handle it and you can't fix it, why don't you just give it to him? You done tried everything you know to try, you done did everything you know to do, and it still ain't working out. Why don't you just give it to Jesus? You done read every how-to book, you done watched every Oprah show, you consistently watch Dr. Phil, you keep on praying to God, you done went to Victoria and you done got every secret that you possibly got, you done went all the way to Bath and Body Works and you smell like a whole bouquet of orchids, but here's the thing, he still ain't working out right. Why don't you just give him to Jesus? You done tried everything you could to turn that gold digger into a godly woman, but here's what you missing it. You bought her when you met her, you bought her when you went out with her, you bought her when you married her, 20 years later you're still paying for her now. And in order for her to turn from godly, from gold digger, you got to make sure that you put her in the hands of somebody that paid more for her than you did. You paid with your bank to give thanks. The text says he took the 7 loaves and gave thanks. That's Dixon Edwards. Still 7 loaves. Still a 3-day hunger. But he said thanks. He hadn't fed nobody yet. He hadn't done anything yet. But he said thanks. What did he have to say thank you about? Sometimes you ought to just tell God thank you for what you know he's getting ready to do. I didn't realize it when I was a little boy, but now, looking in hindsight, as a grown man with my own wife and children and home responsibility, I realize now, Daddy had 2 different prayers. He prayed when blessing the food at night. We come in some days, me from Head Start, my brother from high school, my daddy from the woods, from working. Mama, when there's plenty of food in the kitchen, Mama would tell us, come on in, get cleaned up, sit down, and get ready to eat. Sit down. That day, Mama spoiled all the men of her life. She fixed our plates one by one, set them down, and after she set down all of our plates in front of her, she went back to the stove, fixed her own plate, sat down beside Daddy. After she sat down with her plate, with food on the table and waiting leftovers on the stove, Daddy would pray a prayer something like this: Lord, I want to thank you for the food that's on our table. Thank you that it's going to give us strength that we may keep on working in your name and give you glory. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. But there were times when we come in from school, me and my brother, my daddy would come in from work, Mama would be standing over the stove in the kitchen doing her work, and as soon as we hit the door, Mama would say, I don't know how much we got, I don't know how long it's gonna last, we just gonna eat it till it run out. I just put what I could find in the kitchen, I ain't had no money to go make no groceries, we just gonna do what we gotta do and eat it and go to bed happy. When she sit us down, she sit my brother down, plate down in front of him, she said, I don't know if it's gonna be any seconds for you to go back and get, we just gonna eat it till it run out. She put the plate in front of me, she said, you better not play over it tonight, ain't nothing else to eat, you better eat it while it's in front of you. She said it in front of my daddy and say, I ain't talking about you, us, that don't mean nothing about it. I know you're working hard as you can, as soon as you give me some money, I'll go make some groceries, we just gonna eat what we got. When Mama picks her plate and sit down, Daddy would pray a prayer sounding like this: Lord, I wanna thank you for the food we're about to receive. And every time it looked like there was no more food on the store, my brother would get up and walk back to the pot, and Mama would say, I don't know if any more peas left in there. He would get the spoon and do it around. It would look like there's nothing the pot look left, but every time he swing it around and come back up, it'd be another spoon. But a piece of the food we were about to receive. I ain't talking to myself, I'm talking to you. You got some stuff you waiting on, but you can't see it. You got some stuff that look like ain't gonna never happen, but you ought to tell him thank you tonight for what you can't see, but what you believe you're about to receive. Gave thanks. I gotta skip some of this. He gave it to him. He gave thanks. But then you have to give in. The text says he took 7 loaves, gave thanks, and broke. Sometime before God can bless you, he gotta break you. And the purpose of him breaking you is to pull some stuff out of you that you didn't even know was in you. It was enough food in the 7 loaves to feed 4,000 men, plus women, plus children, and have 7 baskets of leftovers. But you couldn't see it was in there till he broke it. And once he broke it, before he pulled them through, he started pulling it out. And every now and then, before God can pull you through your situation, he got to pull some stuff out of you while you still in your situation. That's why by the time you get out of it, that's why you can say, I'm stronger now, I'm better now, I'm wiser now. It was because of all the stuff when everybody thought you were broken, all the pieces, that God wasn't breaking you to hurt you, God was breaking you to bless you, to start pulling some stuff out of you that you didn't even know was in you. I don't know those that had had courtside view to this miracle. I don't know what they said to each other, but I know if I would have been there, and I'd have been sitting there watching Jesus take the bread, give thanks to the bread, then break the bread, and then start pulling bread out the bread, give it to the disciple, reach back to the same bread, pull some more bread out the bread, give it to the disciple, reach back to the same bread, pull some more bread out the bread, give it to the disciple. I would have said to the person sitting beside me, I didn't know all of that was in there. If the truth really be told, my brothers and sisters, sometimes God ought to surprise you about you, that you didn't know some stuff was in you until God started pulling it out of you. You didn't know that much forgiveness was in you. You didn't know that much patience was in you. You didn't know that much endurance was in you. You didn't know that much strength was in you. You didn't know that much prayer was in you. You didn't know you could shout like that until the Lord put enough trouble on you that He started pulling on Him. Hallelujah. I love you. He had to break you in order to pull it out of you. That's enough. Let me quit. That's enough. I have to obey the command. I have to observe the process. But then lastly, get ready to overcome. Now, here's the thing. In order for you to overcome, somebody has to be a witness. The witness is in verse 6. He broke it, gave it to the disciples. And the disciples said it before the people. Let me change that name so you can catch it. He broke it, gave it to the naysayers. The naysayers had to set it before the people. You didn't catch me. He broke it, gave it to the negative folks. The negative folks had to set it before the people. You ain't caught me. He broke it, gave it to the ones that said that'll never work out. They had to set it before the people. He broke it, gave it to the ones that said you'll never be nothing. They had to set it before the people. He broke it, gave it to the ones that said that'll never work, bro, pastor. They had to set it before the people. Sometimes God got to turn your persecutors into your partners. I know you saved tonight, sanctified, heaven, hell redeemed, heaven bound, with Jesus on your mind. You got your Sulo halo over your head. But if you would take it off for a moment, hang it on the hook on the wall, you can pick it up on your way out the door. Get off your holy high horse, come down here and be real with the rest of it, and be open and honest with me. You got some people that's in your life. If they leave your life tonight, it'll be just fine with you. If the truth really be told, when you go back home and come in your neighborhood, if there be a U-Haul in front of this certain house on your block, and see they moving out, it'll be just fine with you. When they go to work in the morning, and you pass by this certain desk, and they ain't in work tomorrow, it'll be just fine with you. When you go to church on Sunday morning, and this certain member don't show up, that means everything is all right. We gonna have a hallelujah good time today, but the devil stayed at the house this Sunday morning. It'll be just fine with you. But the reason why they won't change addresses, the reason why they won't find another career, the reason why they won't go to another ministry is because the devil ain't got them there. God got them planted there. And the reason why God got them planted there is because God gonna turn your blockers into your blessers. He gonna turn your watchers into your witnesses. That the same people that said you wasn't gonna make it gonna be the same people that gotta testify that the Lord pulled you through. Why is that important? It's because you ain't gonna believe my family. You ain't gonna believe my loved one. You ain't gonna believe my friend because you think they speaking up for me. But when the Lord pulled me through so well that even my enemies gotta testify that the Lord pulled them through, you know that wasn't nobody but the Lord. He said it before them. He didn't put it in their hand. He didn't put it in their lap. He didn't put it in their mouth. They said it before them. Which means the miracle was there. Breakthrough was there. Deliverance was there. But they had to reach for it. Tell your neighbor, reach for it. If you just reach for it, he already placed it where you needed it. Don't be scared. Don't have fear. God didn't give us a spirit of fear. You just reach for whatever God has told you. He done made sure they're going to give you the loan, but you the one got to go to the bank and reach for it. I know if other folks done filled out for the job, they got more experience than you, more education than you, more connections than you. But if the Lord told you the job is yours, go and dress yourself up, walk in that interview crowd, and just reach for it. I know it look like that you ain't gonna make it. I know it look like according to every statistic and everything that they show you on your credit report that the car ain't yours, but go and get your driveway ready. You just go to the dealership and reach for it. I gotta stop. Once they reach for it, picked up bread, put it in their mouth. Only thing he was telling them, he had them covered. Tell your neighbor, he got you covered. He got them covered because he had already knew they were going to need food before they got there. They didn't know it, but they were already covered before they discovered that they needed some food. You didn't catch me right there. They didn't know they were already covered before they discovered that they needed some food. It was the Lord that made sure that the right ingredients was at the right house. He made sure that whoever cooked the bread on the right day, gave it to the right person, put it in the right bag. That person came to the right revival, sat in the right section, made sure that they stayed there all 3 days that they needed the food. Made sure that the right disciple went to the right section of the crowd, found that man out of 4,000 people, and made sure that he got the bread to them. Once he got the bread, he made sure that it had the right yeast, had the right water, had the right ingredient, that it wouldn't just rise and multiply. And once he got through pulling it out of it, he set it right in front of her, and the only thing they had to do was just reach for it. God already done worked it out for you. He already done fixed it for you. He already done designed it for you. He got you covered. All you got to do is just have faith enough to reach for it. I'm stopping. There's a story I'm reminded of. As I go to my seat, there was this man that was having a father-son day with his 2 twin boys. They went from park to park. They went from place to place. They were on their way back home. They were sitting at a traffic light, singing and laughing and enjoying one another. Him in the front seat, and his 2 twin boys in the car seats in the back. While they were sitting at the light, a transfer truck came up in the same lane behind them and didn't hit his brakes. Collided with the back of the car. Demolished the car. They had to get cut out of it. When they got out of it, the father came out without a scratch on his body. But his 2 twin boys were covered with glass, covered with blood, and they wouldn't wake up. A nurse was the first one on the scene. She ran directly to the father and told the father, "Don't worry about it. They're going to pull through." He said, "How do you know they're going to pull through?" She said, "Well, for 2 reasons." She said, "First of all, I'm an OR nurse. The hospital that they're going to be carried to is the one I work at. And I'm going to stay with them all the way through. But most of all, I'm a child of God." When I pulled over, I said a quick prayer before I got out the car. And he told me to tell you, your children is going to pull through because he got them covered. They put them in the ambulance, rushed them to the hospital, got them directly through the ER, put them on the elevator, carried them up to the floor where the operating rooms were, carried them out through the doors of the operating room. The father tried his best to follow them through the doors, but they held him and told him, "This is far as you can and said to him, remember what I told you. The Lord said they gon' pull through, 'cause he got them covered. Ain't the Lord all right? The doctor came in the operating room and began to delicately take all the glass off of the little boys. Ain't the Lord all right? When he got off the glass off of the boys, they were still covered with blood and they wouldn't wake up. He did took a water and began to wash all the blood off of the boys. But then he said, I can't understand it. I can't explain it. I cannot find where the blood is coming from. Ain't the Lord all right? He kept on washing and said, I cannot find any cuts. I cannot find any laceration. I cannot find where the blood is coming from. He asked the nurse, what about the father? Is he injured? She said, no, he's in the waiting room right now. He does not have a scratch on his body. What about the truck driver? Did he stay in the truck or was he thrown in the back seat with the baby boys? She said, no, he stayed in the truck. He got a few minor injuries. He's in the ER right now. He just kept on washing off the blood and kept on saying, I can't find any cuts. I can't find any lacerations. I cannot find where the blood is coming from. As soon as he got the last drop of blood off of the little boy, they both woke up, got a smile on their face, and started waving their hands around. Everybody in the OR got excited, but the doctor kept standing there and said, I can't understand it. I can't explain it. Where did the blood come from? The nurse yelled out, I know where the blood came from. The Lord said he was going to pull them through because he had them covered. That ain't nothing but the blood of Jesus. Ain't the Lord all right? I'm gone now, children. I'm through with y'all tonight. But I got to tell you, that's how I know you're going to be all right. That's how I know he going to pull you through. The reason I know it, because he got you covered. And because you covered, he going to pull you through. How do you know it, preacher? The reason I know it, because I'm a child of God. And the reason why I'm a child of God, he covered me and pulled me through. He covered me one Friday morning. They put a cross upon his shoulder. They marched up Calvary's mountain. I got to quit here. Good evening, y'all. God bless your heart. I got to leave you now. But before I go, I got one more thing. I got to tell you, he covered me when they nailed his hand, ripped his feet, hung him high, spread him wide. How do you know you're covered? Because of Calvary. Songwriter told me there is a fountain filled with blood drawn from Emmanuel's vein. Sinner's blood beneath that flood to Jesus, you're in the grave. What's going to happen to you? I heard Jesus tell him he's going to pull me through. It's Saturday night, Jesus. You're still in the grave. What's going to happen to you? He's going to pull me through. I said earlier.
Yeah!